Recording.
Okay, excellent. So before I slip out, I do want to introduce Vincent. We've already heard some of the praises for his work and the library's work, especially during COVID time. I've been extremely grateful for all that is online at VTS these days. And what's great about it is not just for master's students, but for you guys as doctoral students, like this is, the more that's online, it really, really opens up what you guys can do. And it's, I know you're at the very beginning of the program, but especially when it comes to your thesis, and you're not necessarily coming to campus every summer, really knowing the ins and outs of the online resources that we have to offer is just absolutely essential and just such a help for thesis research. But it's also a help in the next couple of years during coursework as well. So we're glad to be able to offer this orientation. And I know that the library, Vincent will talk more about this, but in addition to today, there are also office hours and you guys can log on to them and talk to folks. They've been very helpful and are always happy to meet with students and talk about your research and kind of direct you towards some of the resources that we have that you might not know about. So Vincent, thanks for taking the time to be here with us. And I'm gonna toss things over to you, and I've actually got to scoot out myself. So it's great to see everybody here, and I'll see y'all again soon.
Yep, see you, thank you. Well, since it's just a small group of us, we can be a little bit more informal. So it sounds like Mike at least went to VTS. Ward, did you go to VTS? Are you an alumni?
No, I'm a son of the house. I showed up.
Okay, gotcha. And Kristen, where did you do your master's?
I went to VTS.
Okay. So I think just to answer the barcode question, I sent emails out to everyone on Friday, but there was a couple of you. So Kristen, you're probably one of the people that didn't get that because I was confused whether or not someone with the same name was in the system. I didn't know if that was the same, if you were that person. So I will rectify that and get
okay,
you
thank you. That'd be great. Yeah.
So Mike, that might have happened to you as well. But I'll send those out to you after this session here. Well, maybe I could, in case if we want to do a little testing out and seeing if things work, you'll need those right now. So we might get to that in a second. But so I have a really short PowerPoint here just to be the basis for some of the things I want to make sure I touch. I know you said, Kristen and Ward said you had to head out a little bit early. What time range am I working for here?
I'm actually going to head out in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I figured I'd jump on for the beginning, but I have to go teach a 4th grade class.
Okay.
I need to bug out about 1:45.
Okay. All right. So let's spend a couple moments here. I'm gonna, just since you guys only have a couple minutes, I'll do a really quick intro, then we'll do a short demo of how to find a couple different types of resources. You guys are all, you all have master's degrees. You know what you're doing around the library, but there are some tips and tricks that are unique to our system that are helpful to know about. So let me switch over real quick to my PowerPoint and should be sharing my screen now. Welcome to VTS. Welcome back to VTS. I want to emphasize that the library is here to support your studies. That's why we are here. So don't ever feel like you're bothering us with your asking questions, or if you end up sending us 10 emails one day, 10 might be excessive, but 4 or 5, that's okay. Don't worry about reaching out to us at any time over the weekend in the evening. We probably won't respond right away if it's 11 o'clock at night, but we'll get back to you quickly. And the best email address to reach us is, I have this on my very last slide here, but it's painlib@vts.edu. Three of the staff members look at that. So if you have any question whatsoever about the library at any time, something's not working for you, you can't find something, you want to schedule a time to talk about your project, final paper, anything like that, drop it into that email address. It's better than reaching out to one of us individually because we might be on vacation or might not be looking at the email. So I just want to emphasize that up front. We're here for you, and that's why the library exists, is to support your studies. So briefly, what we do for you, obviously, we're a library, so we provide resources, books, ebooks, journal articles, special collections, interdisciplinary resources. Some of you might be, at least some of you listening to the recording here, might be in the educational leadership track. That might require some interdisciplinary resources in the education field. We have all sorts of things in religion and a growing collection of interdisciplinary resources to resource your studies. Another thing the library does is we're not just a storehouse of books. We also guide and can help support your research. And this is something that the library is in a different position than your professors. Your professors are grading you. There might be anxieties around, unsure about telling them that you don't know something because you're afraid they will, think less of you or something. The library is a completely non-judgmental space. You don't have to be anxious to reach out to us. We're here to help, and you won't receive a grade at the end. So you're always welcome to reach out to us. We can do consultations, and some of this might be more helpful towards the dissertation stage when you're developing a substantial bibliography and that sort of thing. But even in your projects for your coursework, if you just want to bounce ideas off of somebody and you don't necessarily want to go to your professor, or you want to complement what your professor can offer, feel free to reach out and we can schedule something. We also have a thing called LibGuides, and in the email I sent on Friday, which again I'll send to you too today, there's a special page on there that's a doctoral students LibGuide. I think I can switch to share that screen just to show you what it looks like. If I can find it, here it is. And I'll send you the link to this, but it's just vts.libguides.com/doctoral. And this is just a basic kind of a getting started guide for resources, what the privileges are. If you're based in the United States, we can ship books to you. Our current policy is that we pay for the outgoing shipping, but you're responsible for the return shipping. So no, that's an option. There's different pages of how to access e-resources, kind of a step-by-step guide, the differences on the library catalog, how to download books and chapter. We'll go through that really quickly here as well. How to renew books yourself. There's a series of videos that you'll hear my voice, my voiceovers for on different aspects of using the library catalog. If you might be really familiar with it, or you might be totally new to you. So take advantage of these if and however they might be helpful. Then some information about how to reach out for some help. Then there's this page here that are VTS theses, and we collect electronic versions of many previous doctoral theses, but print versions of all of them. It depends upon whether the outgoing student wants to make it available electronically. There's also a database called Research and Ministry that the library subscribes to. The links right here on this guide, and that'll search pretty much every seminary, divinity school in the United States, their cataloged doctoral theses. It just gives you an abstract. It doesn't give you access to the full text, but that's a good place to go. If you're thinking about you might, this is maybe a couple years down the line, but it's a good thing to start thinking about, what's already been done on this area, and is there any ideas that other people have had that I could use. So that's briefly what that guide is. Take advantage of that. I'm going to skip these two just for time's sake. The gist of these two slides was that at the doctoral level, theological education is more than just checking off the boxes for your assignments. You're invited to become an active participant in the conversation that's happening in your disciplinary area, in your topical area, in your subject area. You're invited to become an active participant in that area. So getting started with the library, the tip I want to offer to all of us is if you put in just a little bit of time up front, it's going to save you a lot of time down the run. If you take, mark off 30 minutes in your schedule, figure out, mark it off for getting familiar with the library's tools, searching functions, how to access my course materials. If you put aside some time up front, it'll save you a lot of frustration down the line when you forgot about your deadline and you have 15 minutes to write a response on Canvas. Knowing how to use the library before that is important. So I'm going to go to a brief demo of, VTS alumni might be familiar with the catalog, our specific catalog, but others of you are not. So I'm going to share that really quick, and then we're just going to go do an example ebook search here. I guess I should ask before I go into that. I'm kind of speeding through this. Was anything unclear? Do you have any questions at this point? Okay. All right. Yeah, it's kind of just a basic introduction here. So let's go to the library catalog. librarycatalog.vts.edu. That's the homepage portal for all the library's resources. There are 3 main entry points into the catalog. What we call the VTS catalog, the ATLA religion database, and then the EBSCO discovery service. If you go back to that page, which has the video tutorials, there's a separate tutorial for each one if you're interested. But for most things, like if you're just looking for a book, you'll want to just go to the VTS library catalog. If you're looking for a journal article and it's in the field of religion, it's probably going to be in the ATLA religion database here. And just the best practices for what to type in. I mean, you guys are familiar with using the library, but just type in the author's last name and a couple words of the title, and you'll get some good results. Sometimes people get overly complicated with what they type into here. And if you put a semicolon or something, but the book isn't cataloged with a semicolon, then you're not going to find anything. So just be simple. I can figure out if I can think of an example off the top of my head here. Let's just try Rowan Williams. Anglican Identities. I think that's one of his books. And of course, I spelled identities wrong. I just typed his last name and then part of the title. And then here's the book. That's the first thing. And then to access the electronic version, there's going to be a separate record for the ebook and the print record. So this is an ebook. This is an ebook. This is the print book. But it also links to the ebook. But you can tell here, because it'll say book on the left and it'll have a call number, whereas the ebooks will just say web resource and they'll just have this link that's read or download. And those are the buttons you want to click when you're going through to access a book. So for this one, we'll click on the read or download button. And right at this point, if you're off campus, is when you'll get the authentication screen to put in your library barcode and your last name. So make sure you have that available. I think I know who I haven't sent them to yet, but please reach out if you don't have that. It's better to, don't go around without it. You really need that. So if for some reason you didn't get it, reach back out to me. So once I click on that read or download link, it takes me to this page that's describing the book. If I scroll down to the bottom, there's the table of contents. I can just click straight onto chapter 3 and I'll open up chapter 3, for instance. Let's try that. And there we are with chapter 3. If I want to save this as a PDF, on the top left, there's a Save Pages button. Most of our ebooks will have copyright limitations, licensing limitations for how many pages you can download at a time. Like this one has 100, for instance. So you can only download 100 pages. So that's how you would save the PDF. You could either type in the page number, how many pages you want from starting from that page, or do this section for that chapter. So that's how you access an ebook. I'll do the same thing with the journal articles. Again, this is
Can
kind
I
of
ask a question about the download feature?
Sure.
Is that like across the lifetime, or is there a certain like month limit, or how does that, is it different depending on the publisher?
It's different depending upon the publisher. So some of our books will have unlimited access. You can download as many chapters as you want whenever you want. Some of them will be very, very limited. So it might even be, you can only download 10 pages. The majority of ours are probably going to be around the 100 page. That's a pretty standard practice, but that is session specific. So if you close out your browser completely, come back in, you can probably access some more pages, or just come back the next day, or use a different browser. You know, there's all sorts of ways to get around those. I'm not necessarily encouraging you to go on downloading sprees, but you know, there's ways to get around it. So for journal articles in religion, use the ATLA religion database. But if you're doing something like education or something more interdisciplinary, hey Ambrose, if you're doing something more interdisciplinary here, use the EBSCO Discovery Service, and you might uncheck this limit to religion and philosophy checkbox. We just have that by default because it helps limit the results for the average use case for what you might be typing in there. But if you're looking for something on education or sociology or anthropology or whatever it might be, use the EBSCO Discovery Service. So the ATLA religion database, it works the same way. Let's just type in Rowan Williams, just because he's the person that's in my head for some reason right now. And you'll get a bunch of results. But underneath each record, there'll be a link to the full text. See these PDF buttons here? So that's how you'll access those articles. So if I just click on that, it'll take me straight to it.
I found it's really helpful to right click or control click and open that in a new tab.
Open a new tab, yeah.
Because
yeah, that can be
otherwise
helpful.
you lose your whole search.
Yeah, that's definitely I generally have that practice as well. So click on it and then you just get straight to it. And there's on the left-hand side, there's all sorts of ways to limit your search. So, you know, Rowan Williams, obviously a popular author. I got 1,200 results. I'm not going to sit here and go to page 57 of these search results. So you might want to type in, you know, let's say Christology or something. You know, you can type in more search terms to help limit your results. Now we're at 14. You can also use these limiters on the left-hand side to say only ones that we have full text to. I mean, most of them we should, but you might limit 5–10% that way. You can limit to only peer-reviewed. You can limit by publication date over here. Say you only want really recent articles. You can do that. You can also limit by language. All these are English already, but sometimes there's Korean and Spanish and German, French. If you don't read those, then it's not useful to have those search results cluttering up your screen. If you do, then great. So that's just a brief intro to journal articles. I'm gonna go back to does anyone have any questions at that point? It's pretty simple once you get used to it, but it does take some getting used to. It does take getting used to the habits of, okay, where is the PDF button show up on the screen? Just so you can go through things quickly. Let me go back to my PowerPoint to make sure that I am covering what I want to cover. Yeah, the how to find other theses. There was a link to that on the Doctoral LibGuide that I'm sharing with you as well. But if you also, there's another way to get to it, which is if you're on the library catalog homepage, this blue box at the top, there's a button that says Theses from VTS. And if you click on that, it'll take you to our digital platform that has doctoral theses. So this is all the DMin theses that are available electronically. It looks like there's, I don't know, quite a bit. 27 looks like are available electronically. More than that are available in print at the library, but since most of your studies will be online, especially this year when we're not doing a summer intensive, the electronic versions might be helpful. And that can give you an example. Again, you're not necessarily at that point yet, but that can be a good way to see what the types of projects are and what the end goal of the program is. You can kind of visualize what's awaiting you at the end. So a couple more things on my PowerPoint, and then we can wrap up. And maybe if you want to do a test of a couple of different searches, or if you have any specific questions, we can go over those. There's other research guides available at that vts.libguides.com. There's ones on Anglican studies, liberation theologies, the Episcopal Church, all sorts of things. And there's other how-to guides there as well, and troubleshooting guides. And it's also something that you might want to be familiar with, just going to this site and just perusing, just becoming familiar with the types of offerings that are there. At least through early May, we have virtual office hours, Monday and Wednesday, 3 p.m., Tuesday and Thursday, 1 p.m. And the link is just bit.ly, bit.ly/WCL Zoom. It is capital letter sensitive, but I can send that or that's part of the Doctoral LibGuide as well. But if you want to write that down quickly, you're welcome to. And then, as I said earlier, the PainLib email is the best way to reach out to the library and ask a question, rather than reach out to one. You're welcome to reach out to one of us directly if it just involves us, but if it's a general help question, or I'm trying to find this and I can't seem to get it to work question, email this address so someone can get to you really quickly. That is all of the specific things that I wanted to show you. I wanted to go over. Are there any other questions that you might have at this point? Or have you found it pretty easy to find what you're looking for your courses, and it's easy to get from the syllabus assignment to the required reading? And more or less. Okay. Well, it's been good.
I wanted to ask if at all there's a book that we are using for our classes, and I don't have it in a hard copy. Is it possible to request the library department maybe to check if the book can be available electronically?
Yes, that's a great question, Ambrose. I had meant to actually mention that. So thank you very much. If you're finding a book in print and we don't seem to have an electronic copy in the catalog, ask us that question. Just say, I'm looking for this electronically. Is it available anyway? And the library will try to find you a copy. We'll purchase a copy, electronic copy if it's available. Not all books are available electronically. Not every publisher creates electronic formats of their books. So there are limitations to that, but you can always ask, and we would always be willing to purchase or find an alternative source. So definitely please. And that also helps us build up our collection too. So there might be things we missed on these syllabi, and if we would love to have an electronic version of every book on every course syllabus. So you're also doing us a service when you ask that question. So yes, please do. Were there any other questions?
I have a couple of my situation specific questions, but I could either hang out or request the time to meet with you later if you want.
Okay, if you think that there might not be the same questions others are asking.
Well, it's one of them is, like I didn't get an email, but I am an alum and it looks like my barcode is active. So I just want to make sure it'll stay active.
Okay, yeah. Let's touch base here after I hit stop recording.
Cool.
Are there any other things for the group, for the good of the cause? Like I said, please reach out if you have any questions. If at any time you're struggling to locate something, there's two common things that might happen. Number one is you're struggling to find something and you just get frustrated with, I can't get this to work, I can't get this to work. Reach out. There might be an error. There might be a link, a bad link. Don't let yourself get too frustrated. Reach out before you get to that point. And then secondly, if you are doing research for a paper, or especially for your thesis later on, and you're struggling to identify resources or struggling to figure out if the library has something on X, Y, or Z topic, if you're not finding something initially, don't take that to mean that we don't have anything. We probably have something. It just might take a little bit of extra effort to find those specific niche resources. And you could use a librarian to help you locate those. So number one, don't let yourself get frustrated with the library resources. Reach out before you get to that point. We're happy to help. We want to help you guys have a great experience. So if something doesn't work, let us know. And then number two, just to reiterate again, if you can't find what you're looking for, don't give up and don't assume that we don't have it. Reach out to us instead and see if we can assist you. So with that, I will hit stop recording.